Next on The Shield, the Polar Plunge is days away. We had a visitor in the studio to tell us more about it.
Plus, dance ensemble success. Just how much goes into the preparation for one of Valpo's most artistic performances.
We saw 3 inches of snow on the ground yesterday, but the rest of this week's forecast is rather unwinter-like. I'll have the details coming up. This episode of The Shield starts right now.
Live from the VUTV studio in Schnabel Hall on the campus of Valparaiso University. This is The Shield on VUTV.
Thank you for joining us on The Shield. I'm Katie Nickolaou.
And I'm Katie Bierne. Valparaiso University's dance marathon coming up right around the corner, and last Friday night, VUTV's Nathan Hopper talked with Benjamin Heyman, Valpo Dance Marathon's executive director, about Valpo DM and what's ahead for Dance Marathon.
Is a national philanthropic organization held at many different college campuses across the United States, where our purpose is to raise money for Children's Miracle Network hospitals. And the funds that we raise through Valparaiso University Dance Marathon go to benefit Lurie Children's Hospital in Chicago. And during our main event, which is going to be April 9th, 2016, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m., we're going to be having our big celebration of all the money that we've raised throughout the year. And during that 12-hour event, we're going to have many different types of events and activities for participants. We call them our dancers to come and have a bunch of fun. Part of our social media campaign has recently been focused on recruiting new dancers and participants within Valparaiso University Dance Marathon. The hashtag 400FDK is focused on trying to get 400 dancers registered within the next few weeks for our main event in April. Now, currently we have about 250 dancers registered, and we think that we can really push 400.
If you would like to be a part of those 400 dancers at the event on April 26th, a registration link can be found at valpo.com. It's easy to sign up, and you can also use the hashtag 400FTK on all social media platforms. This past weekend, students in Dance Ensemble took center stage to showcase different dance styles from across the world. Dance Ensemble is an auditioned student company of dancers representing a host of majors on campus. What makes the performance so unique is that almost all dances are student choreographed, and the choreographers are chosen by the director, Ann Kessler. This year, there were 17 dances in total, including the first ever full company opening number. The shows were in the Valparaiso University Center for the Arts and ran Thursday through Sunday. We caught up with junior meteorology major and dancer Elise Smith to ask her about her experience.
I've been participating in Dance Ensemble since my freshman year. We audition in September, so we rehearse for 2 semesters pretty much, all the way through Christmas break, all the way through sometimes the holidays, and then come back here in February for 4 days and get to show everyone what we've worked on for the entire year.
Annual Polar Plunge will be taking place this Saturday at Valparaiso University. The Polar Plunge benefits Special Olympics of Indiana. The event has already raised more than $20,000. To sign up for the plunge, head over to the website at firstgiving.com/soindiana/2016. Valparaiso Plunge. VUTV will have more information on the event on our Facebook and Twitter page throughout the week. Inspiring the minds of young students is something the meteorology department strives to do. Last week, meteorology students held their annual Met Field Day in the Union Ballrooms. Elementary school students from across the region came to learn about science and weather through different experiments and presentations. Many young students left the university with excitement, even some saying that they want to become future scientists. All right, well, hopefully those bright young minds can find a way to warm up this weather we've been having.
And Katie, they may not need to. Storm Shield meteorologist Kyle Brown joins us for a first look at your weather forecast. And Kyle, some are saying 60 degrees for this Friday?
Oh, it's going to be close on Friday, but just think about what we had last week when it was below 0. So it certainly could be much worse. But we saw a high temperature today of 30 degrees. And look at this picture behind me. This is kind of what it looks like on campus now, but it's not going to last very long. We saw 3 inches of snow yesterday, and the plan for the week, seasonal cold to start, and then we do have that warm-up that Katie was talking about coming up. Just to give you a quick look here, we do have a storm system off to our north, and that's going to begin to sag down south into our region. That's going to give us a quick blast of cold air before we start to transition and kind of reverse that around, and it becomes rather warm. So we'll talk about that here coming up. Katie and Katie, back over to you.
Thanks, Kyle. Coming up, a country in mourning. And next on The Shield, Americans join together in mourning the death of Chief Justice Antonin Scalia. Plus, the latest on that devastating high school shooting in Arizona this past weekend. Stick with us.
Everyone knows John Guilford is one of the best defenders on the team. He's one of the best in the PFL, and he puts a lot of time in on the field to make sure of that, but he also puts in a lot of time off the field to do that too. Pretty good at what he does. Pretty good. Yeah. Ow.
It's easy to walk into an interview feeling confident, knowing you'll make the right impression. Which one do you use? The bone crusher, a little too firm. The misfire, just utter confusion. The politician, a little too creepy. The dead fish, very awkward. The hug shaker, too much commitment. Get started right away with Handshake, only through the Career Center. Do what you love.
The body of Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia has arrived in El Paso, Texas after being led by convoy from his ranch outside of Marfa, Texas. The 79-year-old Supreme Court Justice died in his sleep while on a hunting trip in West Texas. Justice Scalia served on the Supreme Court for 3 decades and gained a reputation as a champion for the conservative voice. President Obama says he will nominate a replacement for the late justice once the Senate returns from recess. A teacher in Arizona lost her sister in this week during a murder-suicide at the school where she works. Independence High School in Glendale, Arizona was placed on lockdown Friday after shots were fired in the morning. Police later announced that 2 15-year-old girls died in the incident. The teacher was in her classroom during the lockdown and had no idea one of the victims was her sister.
On their phone, they're
Can you
friends
tell them
with
they're
her.
running the teleprompter too fast?
One of the students
They
said
cut off
it
two.
was
They cut off
Hey
2 of my lines. I had no idea what to say.
And that's when I called up to attendance and asked, "Can I get my sister's schedule? I need to know where she's at right now, first period." And they put me on hold for 10 minutes because that's when I knew something was wrong. And then I was escorted from my classroom with one of the vice principal there. And he held my hand and said, "We have to go upstairs."
Brazil's president says the Zika virus outbreak will not compromise the upcoming Olympics in Rio. President Dilma Rousseff says Brazil will have considerable success fighting mosquitoes that carry the virus. Brazil's military and hundreds of thousands of health workers have been mobilized to fight the virus. Experts say the virus is sweeping through parts of Latin America and that the Zika virus is mostly harmless for adults, but it has been linked to a serious birth defect among newborns. Al-Shabaab militants are claiming responsibility for last week's bombing of a Somali airliner. A statement released by the group said the operation targeted, quote, Western intelligence officials and Turkish NATO forces aboard the airplane bound for Djibouti. Meanwhile, surveillance video appears to show how a laptop bomb made its way into the plane through the Mogadishu airport security. Supreme Allied Commander of Europe, U.S. General Philip Breedlove, told Nick Robertson that NATO does not agree with Russian Prime Minister Dmitry Medvedev's assessment that NATO and Russia have slid into a new Cold War, asserting that NATO is a defense alliance who is facing the challenge of a country who uses force to change international borders. An earlier briefing at the Munich Security Conference, Breedlove said Russia is not just trying to change the rules, but instead rewrite them.
Isn't this, by definition, the Cold War? Arms buildup close to the
Well,
borders?
they are entitled to their understanding of this and their description of this. We in NATO do not want to see a Cold War. We do not talk about it. It is not what we want to happen or anticipate happening. We're a defensive alliance who are arraying ourselves to face a challenge, and we see. That challenge is a nation that has once again decided that it will use force to change internationally recognized borders. And so we take those appropriate actions to be able to assure, defend, and deter.
An Alabama grandmother convicted of the murder in her granddaughter's death has died in prison. 50-year-old Joyce Gerard was sentenced to life without parole for the 2012 death of her granddaughter, Savannah Hardin. The 9-year-old died after Gerard forced her to run around that family's house for 3 hours as punishment for lying about taking a candy bar. Gerard died at an Alabama hospital over the weekend, according to the state's Department of Corrections. We saw a lot of snowfall this weekend, and chilly temperatures moved back into our area. Storm Shield meteorologist Kyle Brown is with us after the break to tell us what we can expect to see this next week and to see if the snow will melt finally. Stick with us.
Degrees was our high temperature today, and our temperatures really didn't travel very much today when you consider that our overnight low was only 20 degrees. And do you remember on this date last year we had a record low of 1 below 0? Luckily, I have nothing like that in my forecast, but I do have some temperatures in the 50s. So without further ado, let's take a look at that. First of all, current temperatures here in Valpo, 30 degrees for us. The hot spot seems to be 33 over in Quincy. If we factor in the wind, it only brings our temperatures down into the low 20s, 23 here in Valparaiso, and cold spots include Rockford sitting at 18. Let's walk through our future temperatures because we do have a very nice warm-up on the way. As you're heading off to any activities later on this evening, maybe coming back from the library, temperatures are going to be in the upper 20s or so, but notice how we have this warm air mass in place off to our south and west. That air mass is going to start to push into the area, but it will have to work past a cold air mass that is off to our north and west. Look at here. This is during shortly after midnight on Wednesday. Tuesday. Look, 6 degrees in Minneapolis, so this air mass is going to be battling it out with that air mass off to our southwest, and luckily we get kind of caught in between the two. So here's 29 here in Valparaiso, and then finally that warm air mass begins to nose off to the north and west. Now, are we going to see any precipitation with this? The answer is not really. So largely we're going to have mostly cloudy skies throughout much of the day. Here is tomorrow morning during chapel break, mostly cloudy skies. We're going to see this bulk of the precip stay off to our south and west, rain and snow mixed down there. As for us, when the system kind of clips through that cold front, we're going to maybe see just a few flurries later in the day on Tuesday. So during your day tomorrow, no snow to worry about, but it is going to be cold because it's a cold front that's going to be bringing just that little quick burst of snow, maybe just a couple flurries, nothing too much to worry about. But then on the backside, another pocket of snow, don't worry about that one either. That's going to breeze on by, and we're going to be left with mostly cloudy skies. Here's the early morning hours on Wednesday for heading off to that 9 a.m. class. Keep the sunglasses away because you won't need them until Thursday, because by Wednesday night we finally start to maybe get some of those clouds out of the area, and we will see some sunshine for you on Thursday. So I was talking about a little bit how much precipitation we may get. This is one forecast model. You'll notice that as I put this into motion, most of our precipitation is going to stay well off to our south and west. So here in Valparaiso, only 7/100 of an inch, nothing too big to worry about. Let's get to your forecast now. Overnight tonight, low temperature of 24, becoming partly cloudy for your evening. And then tomorrow on Tuesday, high temperature of 36. So the warm-up is not here quite yet. Mostly cloudy skies and maybe a couple flurries in there. As we turn to your 7-day forecast, all you really need to look at are your temperatures. There's that 56 we're going with on Friday, but we're going to be talking about rain, so just be aware of that. And then as we head into Monday, it actually kind of turns a little more seasonal. So dare I say a little bit of a roller coaster, but honestly, we're going to be seasonal for the first part of the week, then we're going to warm up for a day or two, and then right back to normal. So don't get too excited.
Or too upset in my case. I like the snow. I love seeing it on the ground. I just don't like seeing the mud. It's nice to cover it in snow.
Yes, yeah, campus is likely going to get a little bit muddy, so I guess maybe keep those snow boots, or I know the ladies love their hunter rain boots, so maybe keep those on hand, especially for Friday. That'll be perfect, right?
I'm just really ready for the spring temperatures because, unlike some people, I've seen enough of snow.
Well, but let's be careful. We live in Valparaiso for now, and we know that it's going to be cold in March, at least somewhere in there. So don't get too
really
excited.
hope so.
Absolutely true. Thank you so much, Kyle. After the break, Jordan Morandini has your full Crusaders sports update. Stick with us.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it... If Daniel won't change your mind, baby, right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my...
Day by day, week by week, the basketball season is coming closer and closer to tournament time. The Valpo men's basketball team had a pair of big home games this past week, first opening with Northern Kentucky this past Thursday. The Crusaders came into Thursday winners of 4 straight, all by double digits, and were alone atop the Horizon League at 10-1. David Scar early on drives and kicks to Keith Carter, who hits the open three. The Crusaders won the first meeting between these teams back on January 24th, 71-46. Later second half, Shane Hammock receives the inbound pass and finds Darian Walker in the corner for three. That bucket extended the Crusaders' lead to 18 in the middle of the second half. And Valpo finished winning by 12, 64-52. The Crusaders moved to 11-1 in the Horizon League and won their fifth straight by double digits. After the game, we spoke with Bryce Drew if winning games so handedly was getting old.
You know, winning's a blessing, like I told our guys. You know, anytime you win a game, you don't win every day in your life. So when you can win, you're excited about it. We'd have loved, again, to play better those last few minutes, but again, they really executed and played well, and it definitely gives us some stuff to get better at, for Saturday.
This win set the stage for perhaps the biggest game of the Crusaders season when they hosted the lone Horizon League team to beat them, Wright State, on Saturday night. On the very first play of the game, Keith Carter finds David Scar for the alley-oop, and the Crusaders were on the board, and right off the bat, a high-energy atmosphere. Fast forward to a 59-59 game. Valpo went down low to Alec Peters, but he's called for an offensive foul, giving Wright State a chance to win and also pretty much steal a game at the arc. Wright State drew up a great play, but Michael Carena missed the mid-range shot, but none other than Biggie Menace is there for the Raiders to put in the game-winning two and win the game, and also stun the Crusaders on their home floor, the first loss for Valpo in 25 games at home. 61-59 is your final. Wright State sweeps the season series, and the Crusaders move to 11-2 in conference, with now a two-game lead in the Horizon League. We spoke with head coach of the Raiders, Billy Donlin, who had strong words regarding Valpo's chances in March.
Terrific program, and as I said, they're an at-large team. All this talk. Look, if this team played in the ACC, they would finish in the top half of the ACC, and they would be going to the NCAA tournament at an at-large. Those schools don't play Valpo at Valpo.
And guys, it was a tough week for Valpo basketball. The men lose to Wright State, the women lose a pair of games. And now that football's over, it's kind of that stretch time. I'm excited to see how these teams finish off their seasons heading into tournament time.
Definitely, and mentioning tournament time, how do you think Valpo stands when it comes to tournament time?
Following their second loss to Wright State, it doesn't necessarily hurt their chances whatsoever because they still hold a two-game lead, but it'll be interesting to see now if they were to maybe meet up with Wright State in that tournament. Wright State has the advantage beating them twice, so who knows what could happen.
But Valpo has the advantage of wanting to win so badly. I think that might help.
It could play a small role, you never know.
There you go.
Thank you, Jordan. We'll be right back with a final look at your weather forecast.
Good morning, Valparaiso University. What's a better way to start your day than with a new jam? And WVUR has just what you need.
But if you close your eyes, does it almost feel like nothing changed at all? And if you close your eyes, does it...
If dying young won't change your mind, baby, 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 right.
Broadcasting sports, news, weather, and music on air, online, and on campus. WVUR is my...
Tonight marks the 58th annual Grammy Awards, and popular artists such as Taylor Swift and Kendrick Lamar top the list of nominees for tonight. Lamar, who leads all nominees with 11 nods, will go up against Swift and The Weeknd, who received tallied 7 nominations performances. Tonight will include Adele, Justin Bieber, and Little Big Town. Lady Gaga will also pay homage to David Bowie in a tribute performance to the late performer. And as we mentioned earlier, Polar Plunge is this weekend, and we had a chance to speak with the VUPD Assistant Chief of Police, Chuck Garber, about the event.
Well, it's a good cause, like always, for Special Olympics, and we have quite a bit of students' participation this year and also the outside community.
It's an amazing opportunity, and I know like the jumping into cold water can be kind of intimidating, but as Chuck said, it's not going to be super cold that day, and I've seen firsthand how much the Special Olympics impacts the students with special needs. It really helps them find something to be like involved with and find themselves in.
Well, we have some warmer weather on the way. Kyle, what does our 7-day forecast look like?
Yeah, Polar Plunge is going to be pretty balmy, I guess. But let's first talk about tonight. Overnight low 24. We'll start to see partly cloudy skies, so mostly cloudy skies for now, but those will start to mix out just a little bit. But before tomorrow, it's going to be mostly cloudy again, so, you know, kind of the wintertime blues, I guess, with a lack of sunshine. Could see maybe a few flurries in there as a bit of a cold front passes through, but otherwise high temperature at 36, keeping us right near normal. But the 7-day forecast is where things really start to get interesting. I want to stress that it's going to be seasonal for the first couple days. We're not just going to jump right up to that 50-degree high temperature on Friday. So we're going to be sitting in the 30s Wednesday into Thursday, which, hey, that sunshine returns on Wednesday. But then by Friday, high temperature of 56, but we are going to see rain on that day, so that's certainly going to melt the snow, so it's certainly going to be a messy day across campus and across the region, so just be aware of that. And then Saturday for the good old Polar Plunge, plenty of sunshine for that one, and wow, a high temperature of 46, that's not very polar, is it? But then by Sunday and into Monday, temperatures are going to moderate just a little bit, still above normal, but you know, not that 55 degrees. So enjoy that while you can on Friday. So Friday, mark your calendars, warm day.
Now, with these unseasonably warm temperatures, is this a result of just polar vortexes not coming down this year, or is it El Nino?
You know, El Nino is going to be just a little part of it. But, you know, the record set in like 2009 for days similar to this, upper 50s as well. So, you know, never say never.
Yes. Well, thank you all for joining us on The Shield. For Jordan Morandini, Kyle Brown, and Katie Nickolaou, I'm Katie Byrne, signing off.